Williams just texted me, and he said that Carolina played Duke in the 91 semifinals in college basketball. No, they didn't. Carolina lost to Kansas, and Duke beat Vegas. And then Duke beat Kansas for the title. They didn't play against each other. They both made the semifinals, but they didn't play against each other in that NCAA tournament. And they're talking about me taking a mulligan. Unless something happened in my mind, they did not play against each other in the NCAA tournament. They obviously got to the Final Four, but Kansas beat North Carolina. That was the year that Dean Smith got thrown out of the game. And Duke came back and beat UNLV, the great Larry Johnson UNLV team, in the Classic in Indianapolis. They didn't play against each other. Jeez, am I losing it? All right, now, that was the one thing I wanted to get on the board. The second thing I wanted to get on the board is this idea now that we have to play the Yankees and the Red Sox in London. This is announced today, in case you missed. Next year, they will play 2 games in London and obviously not play Sunday or Monday and come back and play Tuesday back in the States. Now, I don't like this at all. Now, I know the whole world right now wants to be in a situation where they capitalize on the international flavor. The NBA plays an NBA game in London. We all know about the NFL, which, it basically bends over backwards to put 1 million games in London. They go to Australia to play baseball. They're going to open up next year in Japan with Seattle and the Athletics. I mean, we all know about going to Monterrey, Mexico. They go to San Juan, Puerto Rico. The NFL goes to Mexico City. I mean, we go on and on and on. I mean, these leagues are doing everything they known to man to spread that international brand, to create an international brand. But to me, really all they're accomplishing, especially when they're going to London, is they're capitalizing on the American who works in London who wants to go to an American event. Because I don't know this, and I have not been to an NFL game in London, but you're going to have a tough time convincing me that anybody but 90% of those stadiums with 80,000 people, 90% of them probably Americans who work in London. There's 1 million Americans who work in London or are traveling in London or whatever the case might be. They're in London during that time period where the Jacksonville Jaguars are playing the Seattle Seahawks, and they buy a ticket for the game. And the same thing would work, in my eyes, with this Yankee Red Sox thing. You're not going to sit there and tell me, and I went to school in England, I have an English mother, I mean, the whole 9 yards. You are not going to sit, I've been to England many a time. I went to boarding school there. You're not going to sit there and tell me that everybody, that every lad, in Guildford and Cranley and Surrey and Liverpool and Somerset and Dover, you name the municipality or a little town, that they're dying to go out there to see the Yankees and the Red Sox. I mean, would you die to see cricket in the United States? You going to go fill up Fenway to see Pakistan play England in cricket? Not a chance. So I am not convinced that this is such a smart idea. This is, to me, in a large way to support John Henry, who is a big owner, who owns the Red Sox, who's going to change the name to Jersey Street with the Yorkie Way, which is a disgrace. We all know that. But this is John Henry, who owns that team in England, and this is a way these are 2 Red Sox home games. These are not Yankee home games. These are 2 Red Sox home games, and this is, to me, a way that Manfred and Henry could be joined at the hip with a event of the Red Sox so he can sort of brand his soccer team with his baseball team. That's all this is to me as a sports fan. I'll say 2 things on it. One, he better give discount tickets to the Red Sox fan next year who buys season tickets to Red Sox games because he's going to miss 2 Yankee games. So there better be a discount with those tickets because he's not going to see the Yankees twice. The Red Sox fan don't give a crap about the Rays or the Royals. They want to see the Yankees. So he doesn't get, that's 2 less games. They only play 9 times there. That's 2 less. 20% less games are in Fenway Park. So he better give a little discount based on that. That's number 1. Number 2, you can't sit there and tell me that really, I don't understand it. To me, that's a way. They do that too much in sports. Everybody wants to do a little international brand. All right, we got to play a game in Mexico City in football. They've been successful. Cowboys have played there. Houston's played there. Maybe I can live with that a little more. They put a lousy team. Let's face it. Remember, it's not the Packers. It's not the Eagles. It's not Dallas, not the Giants. Never does the NFL get one of those big teams, the Bears, to sacrifice a home game to play in London. They might go as the road team. They never go as the home team. It's the teams that have trouble selling tickets. The Rams, Arizona, the Dolphins. Obviously, we all know about Jacksonville. Tampa's been there. They send those teams there. Now, in this case, they're sending the Red Sox and the Yankees because nobody is going to go see Padres and Diamondbacks in London. But I think who you are really appealing to more than anybody else is you're appealing to the American citizen who happens to be in London around the July 4th week and he decides to go to a Yankee-Red Sox game. I think it's asinine. And remember, that's 2 days before Wimbledon, which is on 24/7 on BBC. 2 days before. Wimbledon starts the Monday. To me, it's a waste of time. And to me, it's kissing Henry's rear end. That's what this is about. I am not for it. I'll be honest with you. I am not for it. Because I don't see where, Japan, they love baseball. We've been sending teams to Japan. There's been barnstorming in Japan. Ruth and Garrick went to Japan. So, there's been American players that played in Japan. Obviously, we all know Japanese players have played here. There's a relationship. Puerto Rico, there's a relationship. There is no relationship between the Brits and Americans when it comes to baseball. Zero. So to me, it's a cheap way to act if you're Major League Baseball. Now, Gary Williams has reached out again. I believe I don't know what he was talking about. Duke, yeah, okay. So there you go. So Gary tells me, take a mulligan, stay in your lane, let Torrey handle the college hoops. And he's trying to convince me that in 91, Carolina played Duke. No, they didn't play Duke, Gar. I mentioned it. Duke played Vegas. Carolina played Kansas. It's hard to consider this a tremendous all-time rivalry when they never play when the stakes are at the highest. And Carolina and Duke never have. That hurts the rivalry. Yankees and Red Sox have played for championships. Duke, Carolina is not. Nor is, for the most part, of the Cubs and Cardinals. That's why that rivalry is overrated. Chris Lopresti of Sports Bite. Your calls when we continue.